Life is fleeting. One moment everything is fine and smooth, and the next, it's over. Just like that. Last time we took a journey through the 21 worst horrifying roller coaster disasters of all time. Today we're going even deeper into the strange and final moments of people who tried to defy fate only to meet their end in ways no one could predict. Ever lost someone to a sudden, mysterious event that left you questioning everything? Such is life. The line between life and death is thin and can be cut at any moment. If you're ready, hit that subscribe button because this is going to be one of the wildest rides you've ever experienced. We'll kick off with the devastating and frustrating end of Jack Daniels. Daniels was an American distiller and businessman best known for founding the Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey Distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee in 1866. He met his untimely demise in a seemingly funny incident. In 1906, one fateful morning, he arrived at his distillery before anyone else, eager to get a head start on his paperwork. However, his day took a frustrating turn when he found out that the large metal safe containing his essential documents was locked, and he didn't know the combination. Rather than waiting for someone who could help, Jack, in a fit of frustration, gave the safe a forceful kick. What seemed like a harmless act of irritation quickly turned catastrophic. The kick resulted in a severe injury to his big toe, which soon became infected. Living in an era with no modern medical advances, Jack's condition began to worsen. He faced years of suffering, and unfortunately the infection led to the amputation of his toe, and eventually his entire leg. After 5 years of living in excruciating pain, Jack succumbed to complications from his limbs at 61 in 1911. Indeed, life can take a swift turn just because of a seemingly irrelevant, impulsive behavior. Now let's get right into another strange story that has left everyone still searching for answers. On July 2nd, 1951, the body of Mary Reeser, a 67-year-old woman from St. Petersburg, Florida, was found in her apartment entirely reduced to ash. On the night before the discovery, Mary had gone to bed as usual, without any issues. However, the next morning her landlady, Pansy Carpenter, arrived at her apartment to deliver a telegram, but got no response when she knocked on the door. Her suspicions were raised when she realized that the knob was unusually hot, which made her call the police. What the officers found when they arrived was nothing short of shocking. In the living room, they found a pile of ashes where Mary had been sitting, and the only part of her body that remained were her spine, a left foot still in a black slipper, and her skull, which had shrunk to the size of a cup. What stood out most was that although Mary's body had been almost entirely cremated, the surrounding apartment suffered minimal damage. A lot of things, including the sheets on her bed, just a few feet away, remained pure white and untouched. This baffling scene led the investigators to suspect spontaneous human combustion, a rare phenomenon where the body inexplicably burns itself from within. So what do you think happened to Mary? While waiting for your answer, let's move to another tale, where beauty itself led to an untimely demise. Isadora was an illustrious pioneer of modern dance, whose figure was synonymous with grace and beauty. However, in 1927, her life ended in the most unlikely way. She was gliding through the sunlit streets of Nice, France, in a stylish convertible and her elegant long scarf, which she used for dancing, caught in the car's wheel. What should have been a glamorous ride metamorphosed into a horrific sight. In an instant, Isadora was violently dragged from the vehicle. Her life was cut short in a gruesome accident that sent shockwaves around the world. The next one is the Karen Wetterhahn invisible threat. Karen was a respected chemistry professor at Dartmouth College and known for her expertise in research on toxic metals, but in 1996, her passion and knowledge were turned into a fatal encounter. While conducting an experiment, she accidentally spilled a few drops of dimethylmercury, a very toxic chemical compound made up of mercury and 2 methyl groups, on her gloved hand. Assuming the gloves would protect her, Karen continued her work, unaware that the highly toxic substance had seeped through. After some time, her health began to deteriorate. When she sought medical help, tests revealed alarmingly high levels of mercury in her system, confirming that the damage was severe and irreversible, and she would eventually die from it. Meet Brittanie Cecil, a 13-year-old from Brecksville, Ohio, who went to a Columbus Blue Jackets hockey game in 2002 as an early birthday gift. She was excited to have been at her first live National Hockey League (NHL) games. Sadly, during the second period of play, tragedy struck. A puck deflected off a player's stick and flew over the glass, hitting Brittanie in the head. She seemed to suffer only a minor injury, even holding the puck in her hand, but was taken to the hospital for further checks. As time went on, her health got bad, and doctors discovered severe brain trauma caused by the initial impact. Days later, just before her 14th birthday, Brittanie passed away. The next story takes us to Joplin, Missouri. On May 22, 2011, a tornado swept through Joplin, ripping apart everything in pieces. With winds exceeding 200 miles per hour, the enhanced Fujita Scale Category 5 EF5 tornado demolished buildings, businesses, and homes, claiming the lives of many. Among those who lost their lives was a 56-year-old Linda McDonald, a member of the community. When the storm hit, in an effort to protect herself, she took shelter in her bathtub, believing it to be the safest place in her house. But the tornado's fierce winds ripped through her home, tearing apart even her last line of defense. Unfortunately, Linda did not survive. Then we have the remarkable, yet sad story of Franz Reichholt's parachute fail. He was an Austrian-born French tailor who dreamed of revolutionizing aviation safety with a wearable parachute suit. In 1912, he secured permission to test his suit from the first Eiffel Tower, 57 meters, about 187 feet above the ground. Authorities assumed he used a dummy, but to the crowd's shock, he arrived wearing the suit himself, insisting on the jump despite friends and police urging him to reconsider. Tragically, as he jumped, hope quickly turned to horror. The suit designed to catch the wind and soften his descent failed to open properly, and he plummeted to his death. Next, we have the mysterious death of Cindy James. Cindy was a Canadian woman who was involved in a lot of harassment. After her marriage ended in divorce in 1978, she reported over 100 incidents of harassment. From threatening phone calls to mysterious break-ins, she faced a pattern of violence that seemed to target her relentlessly and kept escalating. The more she cried for help, the more the police assumed she had staged the incidents for attention. This constant dismissal left her feeling isolated and even more vulnerable. Sadly, in 1982, her life came to an end. She was found dead in her car with a plastic bag and belt around her neck. All attempts to determine the cause of her death proved abortive, and it was eventually ruled homicide. Jim the Anvil Neidhart was a legend in the wrestling ring. He was known for his immense power, charisma, and larger-than-life persona. He was so good with his craft that he rose to fame as a key member of the Hart Foundation, a dominant tag team in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, during the late 1980s and the early 1990s. On August 13th, tragedy struck during a seemingly ordinary morning. As he attempted to get out of his bed, he lost his balance and fell, hitting his head on the floor. It may have looked like a simple accident, but it became fatal. In the ring, he was a giant. In life, he was just as vulnerable as anyone else. Finally, the story of Terry Wallis. Terry was 20 years old when he suffered a severe car accident in 1984, which left him in a coma. It was just 6 weeks after his daughter was born that his truck veered off a bridge, crashing down into a dry riverbed. Even though he was discovered alive yet, he was unconscious, with severe brain injuries that left him in a minimally conscious state. For nearly 19 years, his family watched over him, and suddenly, in 2003, in a moment that stunned everyone, he spoke. He called out "Mom" and asked for a Pepsi, as though he were picking up right where he had left off during the accident. But fate had one final cruel twist in store. After living for nearly 2 decades in his condition, he sadly passed away in 2022. His death was attributed to complications stemming from his initial injuries. Did you find these stories intriguing? Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more captivating content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which story resonated with you the most? If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Since we are not an AI-generated channel, your help is the only thing making it possible for us to continue creating these videos.